This is a KUGR sports production.
Good pass down low to Airstrip, and he's the glass.
Giving you play-by-play coverage of all your favorite WSU athletics.
He doesn't get it! He's stuffed at the line!
Football, basketball, baseball, hockey, and more.
Absolutely electrifying play from Washington State to get him right back in this game.
Follow us on YouTube at KUGR Sports to listen to every game live.
What a play! What a kill by Brewstad!
Never miss a moment with the best in the West. KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse.
Gets the Cougs on the board with less than 20 seconds remaining in this first period. Here come the Cougs.
And now, on to the game.
It's senior night after a roller coaster of a season here on the Palouse. Welcome to Beasley Coliseum for a WCC men's basketball matchup between the Washington State Cougars and St. Mary's. My name's Nathan Eshelman, and I'm joined by my partner here in the booth, Declan Curran. We're both excited to be here for the final home game of the season for Washington State after what's been a up and down thrilling season where Washington State has done great at home. Declan, this matchup could be viewed as one-sided, but what do you see tonight that could be in favor for Washington State?
Yeah, obviously, we all know the history of St. Mary's. Usually it's because they have Australian players. Not the case this year. They only have 3. It's mainly American players, actually. But I would say the key for Washington State to win this game is limit the amount of St. Mary's at the free throw line. They lead the WCC in made free throws at 80.6% and shoot nearly 22 of them per game on average. You also don't want to let Andrew McKeever attack you near the glass. He leads the WCC and the country in rebounds, as well as he leads the conference in offensive rebounds. And he is a tough matchup because he is the tallest player on the team at 7'3". So obviously he has a big size advantage there. He averages 9.2 rebounds per game and is 259 overall in the season. And for WSU, something for them on the offensive side, feed the ball to Rahard Vavers. I mean, since coming back from injury, he's had the hot hand. We saw it last game, 21 points. He's averaging 16.5 points per game. So for Washington State, those are my keys, but especially feed the ball to Vavers because he has just been on fire.
He really has been. The hot shooting has been beneficial to Washington State, especially when they play at home. Multiple 20-point outbursts from Rahard Vavers, a sharpshooter all around. Earlier this week, I got a chance to talk with him, and we'll hear more from him later in the broadcast. But when I got to speak with him, he described himself as a little bit of a Tiger Woods player, hitting from deep and being accurate each time. But with this being the final home game of the season for Washington State, they have 2 seniors that will not be playing here in Beasley anymore, and they are showing and honoring them here in Beasley Coliseum in front of us. Simon Hildebrandt, the forward, and guard Adria Rodriguez, both playing their final games here on the Palouse, and tonight they might show an impact today as well.
Yeah, that would be nice for senior night. And I mean, they've only been here for 1 year for Washington State. Obviously, Hildebrandt transferred from High Point. Rodriguez is a different story. He was actually playing a professional league in Spain last year, but the Cougs were able to pull him away from that, bring him to the Palouse for 1 year. Now he's being honored as one of 2 active seniors on the team. The other one is Manuel Ugbo, but he's still currently suspended from the team. And obviously they're not honoring him tonight, so it sounds like he might have been kicked off the team, but we don't know that for sure.
There was no words from David Riley in this press conference from the game earlier this week. No further updates on Ugbo's suspension. But with this being senior night, the Cougars will most likely be wanting to get a big upset win against the 24-4 St. Mary's. And assistant coach Galanopoulos got to speak with me earlier this week as well on why this game matters so much.
Obviously, there's a comfortability when you're at home. I think the fans have been incredible. They always provide a nice atmosphere for us and make us feel at home. And we spend a lot of time practicing here. We spend a lot of time shooting here, obviously. So there's a comfortability with being here, and that's part of what home court advantage is. So it's gone by really quickly. Can't believe it's our last home game, but we're excited to hopefully put on a good show for the fans. They deserve it against a good St. Mary's team.
Well, it will hopefully be a good game, as Coach mentioned. A big matchup, final game for the crowd to be here for. Crowd still piling in to their seats with about 10 minutes till tip-off. We're going to go to break, but don't go anywhere. You're listening to KUGR, the voice of the Palouse.
It means a lot to us, playing at home, playing in front of our home crowd. It just means a lot, bringing that extra energy and extra momentum to our game. So it means a lot to play in front of our fans, and can't wait to play our last game here and put a show.
That was star guard Rehards Vavers for Washington State, talking about the impact that can be brought out from the crowd in Beasley Coliseum. And with this game being on a Saturday night, the last game of the season is actually looking like a deep crowd, so we might get some good noise, and that could be in favor for Washington State.
Yeah, definitely. We haven't seen much of the students. We haven't seen a big crowd in the student section this year, which is something that John Harlow emphasized it was on the, I believe, the Inside WSU Athletics podcast. Harlow said, John Harlow emphasized that he would like more students to show up to games. They certainly have for this one. St. Mary's is a big program. But yeah, this is the last time that we'll have this environment this year as the national anthem is about to start.
Coming back from the national anthem break, Declan, you were saying how St. Mary's, they really got to avoid these trap games. And Declan, what do you think they should do to avoid that?
Yeah, they almost lost. They almost lost to Seattle U. They only won by 2. Seattle U almost won it at the buzzer. Actually, the potential game-winning three-pointer hit off the backboard, so St. Mary's actually almost lost that. But for St. Mary's, their main key is get Polis Morauskas to the charity stripe, which for those of you who don't know basketball much, that's also that's also what people call the free throw line. He's been there 182 times this year, which is 32nd in the entire country, and he has made 151 of those attempts. That's 18th in the country. That converts 83%. And Joshua Dent, who is also starting, we'll get to the rest of the starters later, from Australia. He's third in the entire country at the free throw line, 92% of his attempts. And not only that, he's also first all-time in program history in free throw percentage for his career on 91.3% of his attempts. So for Washington State, they have their work cut out between Morauskas and Joshua Dent for sure.
They get to the rim, and they know how to make the shots when they get there. And speaking of the starting lineups, they have been announced. Looking at the lineup for the home team, the Washington State Cougars, at point guard is number 11, Jerome Morton. At the 2 is shooting guard Ace Glass. At the 3 is number 2, Emily Yalaho. And at the 4, the power forward, playing a little bit big today, is Rehards Vavers, playing the 4 at number 15. And at center is number 22, N.D. Okafor. Head coach for Washington State is David Riley. Now looking at the visiting St. Mary's, at 1 is 0, Mikey Lewis. And playing at the 2 for the shooting guard position is number 7, Josh Dent. Playing the small forward, number 11, Dylan Shaw. And at the 4, star player for St. Mary's, Polis Morauskas. And at center, number 1, Harry Wessels. He's going to be a big force in the paint, standing at 7'1".
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of that, you you were mentioning to me earlier that I should talk about the size that St. Mary's has, so I sure will do that. Obviously, the starting lineup is Lewis, he's 6'3", Wessels is 7'1", Dent is 6'3", Shaw is 6'7", and Morauskas is 6'8". Andrew McKeever, the 7'3" sophomore, not in the starting lineup, but nevertheless, that is a huge size advantage in favor of St. Mary's that WSU's gonna have to contain. But going back to the last meeting back in January, right before the Gonzaga game, actually, that was on a day that students were still coming back from class. I was back at home at that time, but Washington State only lost by 6 in that game. At one point, they were up, they only had the lead of 3 at that game, but they kept that game close. They turned the ball over 13 times, but that last St. Mary's game proved that Washington State can compete. That Washington State can compete with the best of them.
Along with having the lead in that game, they were down by 18 at one point. They really tried to storm back, making it close at the end. And St. Mary's had a 93% lead in that game. They led the entire time, but David Riley and his guys got back, never gave up, and never quit. Maybe today for Washington State, they can show a little bit of the same hustle as we're getting ready for tip-off. Lineups coming off of the bench, getting ready to start. For St. Mary's, they'll be moving left to right. They're the visiting team, so they'll be wearing the dark colors. Looks like gray and red will be what they're wearing. Number 1, Harry Wessels, ready to go at center court, and Washington State breaks out of their huddle.
Yeah, those St. Mary's jerseys look more of a navy blue, actually. Blue and red in their school colors. It looks like it's Wessels and Okafor on opening tip. So
apologies for the color, slightly colorblind myself. But Indy Okafor and Wessels getting ready for the tip. They go up, and Wessels wins it for St. Mary's. Josh Dent looking to take it up the court. Feeds it to Mikey Lewis on the right wing. Gets a screen. Now going to go back to Dent. Dent has on left wing, driving on Morton. Swings it back to Mikey. Mikey guarded by Favors at the top of the key. Now moving all the way back to the logo. Gets a screen from Wessels. Moving forward, gets a matchup on Okafor. Feeds it inside the paint. Almost stolen away, but lands inside the hoop instead. Harry Wessels gets the first points of the game. 2-0 lead. 19:30 on the clock. St. Mary's with the lead. Morton takes it up the court for Washington State. Got screened, fades it into the paint. Tries to pull up a jumper from the free throw line. Doesn't get it to fall. Andy Okafor with a great rebound. Feeds it out to Emily Alaho, who pulls a three-point shot. Does not get it to fall. And Josh Dent is taking up the court now for St. Mary's. Feeds it now to Mikey Lewis on the right wing. Guarded by Glass. Screen coming from Dylan Shaw. Lewis takes it and goes all the way around into the paint with a great floater off his left hand. Goes down 4-0. Quick lead for St. Mary's with 1 minute gone in the clock. Ace Glass taking it now himself. Tries to get in the paint and is rejected by Harry Wessels. Still possession to Washington State. 21 seconds on the shot clock. Just under the hoop will be inbounded by Jerome Morton.
Yeah, on that second basket, Mikey Lewis, smallest guy on the floor, but he does not care. Drove straight to the defense, easy layup, which is why the Gales are up 4-0 early.
Emily Alaho has it out of the inbound, feeds it to Morton. Morton now gets inside the paint to Okafor. Has a size mismatch of 3 inches, not in his favor. Tries to go up with a hook shot, does not work. Gets rejected. A second block for Wessels already. Just a minute and a half into the game. Lewis gets another screen. Now is going to feed it to Dent, who has on the left wing. Slowly takes it to the top. Another screen, and Wessels gets it off of Morton. Morton trying to guard closely on Dent, who tries to put up a tough shot. Good defense by Washington State, and it leads to a rebound in the first miss from St. Mary's. Favors pulls a three-pointer off the right wing, hits it with some contact, falls down, but Dylan Shaw, not good enough defense, and the three-pointer leads to points for Washington State.
Yeah, Nathan, that definitely. Nathan, definitely. That was a little bit too much contact there. Thought that should have been a foul, but it doesn't matter now because Favors knocks down the 3 and the lead is down to 1.
Well, Mikey Lewis tries to make a play and transition, being guarded tightly, but too tightly, as it's going to be a shooting foul, or they're actually going to call it a floor foul. Looks like he was trying to get a floater to say to the refs that is in the process of shooting, but it's not. It's just going to be an inbound with 20 seconds on the shot clock. St. Mary's gets it in. Josh Dent trying to get around Morton. pulls up a mid-range shot, does not get it to fall, but Ace Glass is unable to hold on to the rebound. It is going out of bounds. Possession to St. Mary's.
Yeah, speaking of Ace Glass, that foul on the floor, that was called on him. So one early foul here, not even 3 minutes in, and Washington State's already got one foul.
Josh Dent gets it to Mikey Lewis on the left wing, guarded tightly by Vavers. Interesting to have the 4 guard the 1, but Washington State rolling with it. Yalaho now working against Marascas. Marascas on the left wing, goes to the Pac-12 logo, gets it tipped away by Yalaho, and they're going to call it a travel and a turnover going to Washington State.
Yeah, the entire crowd's not standing. Most of the student section is, but the huge crowd here at Beasley Coliseum, maybe the biggest crowd of the year. They all appreciated that travel call.
Morin on the right wing gets a screen from Vavers. Vavers open, calls for the ball, does not take the shot though. Morton gets it back. Yalaho on the left wing gets it right back to Jerome. Jerome passes to Glass. Glass fakes the 3, dribbles, pulls the 3, gets it to fall.
Nothing but net there for Ace Glass. The game Wednesday against Pacific, Ace Glass didn't have his best game shooting wise. Early 3 there. Washington State loves to see that.
Glass didn't have a single made shot in the first half, getting started early here. And on the other end for St. Mary's is Harry Wessels going in the paint. Indy Okafor meets him there. The shot does not fall. Tough rebound by Washington State. Transition now. Yalaho fakes a 3, feeds it to Vavers on the left wing, working against Wessels, gets inside the paint, and a tough make on top of Dylan Shaw.
Yeah, great move there by Hart Vavers. That's why he scored 21 points last game. Finds a way to do spin moves around the defense, completely fakes him out, drives to the basket, easy layup, 8-4 Washington State. Crowd is on their feet and loud early.
Josh Dent feeds it into Harry Wessels inside the paint, and the size mismatch works in favor of St. Mary's. Now 8-6 as Harry Wessels gets his 4th point of the game. Ace Glass taking it, working against Josh Dent, feeds it to Okafor, who puts up a tough floater above Wessels, does not get it to go. Rebounded by Marascas, and he's taking it up the court, working against Emily Yalaho on the left wing, sizing him up. Now dribbles inside the paint, fakes a shot, now heads it off to Josh Dent, up past near the logo. Vavers now guarding against Mikey Lewis, working inside, gets a spin move, puts up a shot, but it's blocked by Vavers, and Glass has the possession. Washington State going to slow it down, not looking for any fast break points. Gets a screen from Indy Okafor. Glass fakes a mid-range shot, now hands it to Okafor. Okafor with another tough hook shot, gets it to fall after rimming around a couple times.
Man, Washington State looking good on both ends of the floor. Great block there by Vavers. And Okafor with his size. Thought that shot wasn't going in. It kind of shot at a weird angle, but that was a little bit off the glass. It goes in for Okafor.
Glass almost steals it from Josh Dent from an inside pass, but St. Mary's able to corral it and feeds it to the freshman Dylan Shaw in the corner, and he hits the 3. 10-9, back and forth game. 5 minutes now gone from the clock. 14:50 on the clock, and the ball goes out of bounds after it was poked away from Ace Glass. But Washington State holds a 1-point lead in what has been a fast-paced game, Declan.
Oh yeah, definitely. On that last 3 by Dylan Shaw, that play looked like it could have been. I'm trying to think of the word here. That play could have been an absolute disaster because it looked like the refs could have easily called a foul on Ace Glass. He kind of came around and shoved the defender in the shoulder. Didn't get the call. Luckily there was no players that got hurt, but that only turned into worse things for Washington State because on the other end was Dylan Shaw wide open. He was wide open on the other side and just popped that 3.
Well, a lot of hustle and a lot of speed inside the paint caused a little bit of a collision and a little bit of discombobulation on the Cougars defense, unable to move around the 3-point line. Led to the look from Shaw. Did a great job knocking it down. The freshman from Northridge, California, getting the job done. And with that, we're going to go to immediate timeout. Don't go anywhere. Washington State holds a 1-point lead, 10-9, with 14 minutes, 50 seconds left until the end of the half. You're listening to KUGR Sports, the student voice of the Palouse. Welcome back to KUGR. We're here at Beasley Coliseum once again. My name's Eshelman, joined by Declan Curran. And Declan, this has been an exciting fast pace. Just 5 minutes into this game, and it feels like we're watching one of the best games of the season so far.
Yeah. I'll add on to that point. The way this is playing, this might wind up being one of the best games of the season. Win or lose Washington State, St. Mary's favored 8.5, but I have a feeling the way this game is going, it might be a little closer than that.
Well, the inbound is away. 20 seconds on the shot clock. Jerome Morton has it, feeds it to Favors, fakes a three-pointer, hands it to Morton, but there is going to be contact, and it is a foul on the floor. It appeared to be contact from Dylan Shaw, but we'll see what the official ruling is on the foul. Morton looking to inbound it.
Yeah, it was Dylan Shaw. The ref held up two fingers in the shape of number 11, so that foul's on Dylan Shaw.
Yalaho has it, 13 seconds on the shot clock, drives inside the paint, takes it back from the post, tries to get inside the paint to Favors, but intercepted well by St. Mary's. Dylan Shaw, I've said his name a couple times now. He's got himself a steal, feeds inside the paint into the 7'3" Andrew McKeever, but he turns it over. And trying to work the ball up the court is Tomas Starson, who gets doubled, but wisely throws it off of a St. Mary's player to go out of bounds. 29 seconds on the shot clock for Washington State, and a great play from the Viking.
Yeah, speaking of, going on to the point about Thrasherson, our broadcast on Wednesday, we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but this Wednesday was Thrasherson's first game since late December, actually. It was when Washington State played at Seattle U as Yalaho drains a three there, but
a big three-pointer from the right wing, a 4-point lead now for Washington State, 14 minutes until halftime, and Yalaho was way open. Not a lot of defense there for St. Mary's, but they're taking it across the other side of the court. McKeever tries to feed it to Dylan Shaw, but there's going to be a foul on Washington State on the floor. Appeared to be Emily Yalaho, a little bit too much contact, and now it will be an inbound under the hoop.
Yeah, so anyways, to add on to that, we were both at the press conference on Wednesday after the game. Thrasherson said that he is very thankful to be back out on the floor. And he also said that it was very difficult to watch his teammates play and him not being out there.
Dylan Shaw puts up a shot, does not go, but is followed well by Paulus Maraskis, who puts the putback in. 13-11 is the score. Great shooting and great hustle from both sides so far in this game. 13:25 on the clock now. Adria Rodriguez, as for Washington State, tries to go somewhere that Tomas Starson has on the right wing. Tries to drive inside the paint, has an open lane, takes the contact, puts in the reverse.
What an athletic move by Thrasherson, as they might show the replay on here. Thrasherson just completely baited the defender, got around there, gets a chance at three, as they're showing the replay here. Thrasherson was going to go up earlier, held onto the ball.
Took contact to the head as well. Great precision and spin on the ball under the basket. Makes the reverse, and now he's looking to convert the and one. His free throw is up, and it's good.
Yeah, that was Maraskis with the contact.
Well, 16-11 is now the score. 13-12 until half. Josh Dent feeds it to number 33, Liam Campbell. Now gets inside the paint to the 7'3" McKeever. McKeever all the way across the court to Dent. Dent working against glass, puts up a right-handed floater and gets it to fall on the corner floater. Great shot there, 16-13. So Starson takes up the court for the Cougars. Ace Glass now has it, working against Dent, trying to find somewhere to go. Feeds it to Yalaho in the post. Glass trying to get open off ball. Yalaho had the open look, thought about shooting, doesn't go, and gets it to Rodriguez. Rodriguez makes two men against him, feeds it to Yalaho from the deep. He cannot get the three-pointer to fall, and it is rebounded by Josh Dent. Glass tried to get the offensive rebound, couldn't get it, and now St. Mary's gets it down the court. Liam Campbell once again has it, being guarded by Favors, puts up another floater, goes down. 16-15 is the score, and that's two possessions in a row that St. Mary's has driven and gotten a tough layup to fall. Glass gets it to Yalaho on the right corner. Yalaho feeds it to Tomas or Starson. Starson now gets it to Rodriguez in the corner. Rodriguez, not known as a shooter, doesn't take too many attempts. Feeds it to Tomas. Dribbling, takes a step back three. A lot of contact. but they're going to call an offensive foul. Thristarson fell after contact from Paulus Morauskas, but it is going to be called against Washington State, and that is going to lead to a timeout.
Yeah, they're showing the replay here. Nathan, I don't know about you. I don't know if I agree with that call. Thristarson, it was actually Thristarson in his shooting motion. Morauskas hit him on the arm.
Well, David Riley feisty with the referee. He's very angry. He might be wanting this to be reviewed, but this is a media timeout. Washington State still holds the lead, and their shooting splits are decent. They're 50% from three, 46 from the field, with the one made free throw from the and one. But David Riley and his guys most likely not going to be happy with that call.
Oh, yeah, no. If I was David Riley, I would feel the same way, too. Personally, for me, I saw the replay. That clearly looked like a foul on Morauskas. He, like I said earlier, Thristarson was shooting the three. Morauskas hit him on the arm. I don't know if Thristarson made a little bit of contact. Certainly didn't look like it to me. I mean, again, we're not down on the floor. We're way up here on the concourse. But, yeah, they gave that offensive foul. And going back to Liam Campbell, you mentioned his name for the first time. And he's from Idaho, Meridian, Idaho. He actually received an offer from Washington State along with a couple other schools. But St. Mary's was not one of them. He ultimately chose St. Mary's when he could have chose Washington State, but this is his first year. He was on the team last year. He didn't play last year because that was the year that he has his redshirt year, so he doesn't get much playing time, but it would have been cool to see him in a Washington State uniform, but obviously he's with St. Mary's.
Interesting stat about Liam Campbell and just the roster of St. Mary's. He's the only non-international player that is not from California. Everyone on the roster is either from Australia, Lithuania, or California, other than Liam Campbell, who is the only name that is in Idaho.
Yes, and he went to Hawaii High School. I don't know how far that is from here. I'm guessing it's not even like 2 hours from here. I'll have to check on that.
Well, being just in the Northwest, along with Idaho and Washington State. Washington State right now got a 1-point lead over St. Mary's, but the call on the court, I don't know if there was a review, but it is going to be St. Mary's possession with 11:51.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there was a review. They're going to stick with the call on the floor.
Dylan Shaw inbounds it to Dent. Dent guarded tightly by Rodriguez past half court. Screen gets him off. And now another screen. Rodriguez still on Dent. Dent with a tough layup. Almost gets the layup to fall. Rims out. Rodriguez confused about the foul call, but St. Mary's is going to go to the free throw line with Josh Dent, as you mentioned, being a phenomenal free throw shooter.
Yeah, he is. They're going to call that on Jerome Morton, though. It's not on Andre Rodriguez. So that'll be the first on Morton. But, yeah, like I said earlier, Dent is 91.3% from the line, and that number goes out. He makes the second one. If you're Washington State, this is one of the guys you do not want to foul.
Well, he made the first one. It is now a tied game. St. Mary's looking for the lead. Dent's second free throw is butter. 17-16 now is the lead for St. Mary's. Washington State taking up the court now. Adrian Rodriguez looking to go to his right, dribbles to the side. Okafor has it at the top of the key, trying to find an open man. Hildebrand coming in, the senior, working in the post, feeds it to Ace Glass. Glass now to Rodriguez on the right wing. Rodriguez feeds it to Favors, fakes the shot, gets inside the paint to Okafor. 7 seconds on the shot clock, working inside the post on the 7'3" man, and he gets it to fall with a tough fadeaway mid-range shot.
Yeah, that size advantage working out in Okafor's favor. I don't know if that was on Campbell, but Campbell is 6'4" versus a guy who's 6'10". 6'10" is gonna.
That was against Andrew McKeever. That was the 7'3" center working against Okafor, and that took every single shot of precision that Okafor has.
Yeah, that's kind of shocking because usually guarding a 7'3" guy like that is not easy. But Okafor is tallest player on Washington State, but clearly the 6'10" worked out surprisingly in his favor that time.
Okafor now has 4 points in the game. St. Mary's got down the court, but there was an off-ball foul, and now they inbound it. Shaw has it, feeds it to Campbell on the right wing, looking to feed it to Dent, but he's going to give it to Morauskas instead. Morauskas being guarded by Simon Hildebrand on the right wing, dribbling, sizing him up, pulls a three-pointer in his face, and it falls after rimming in and out, then back in. Three-pointer drops. 20-18 is the lead for St. Mary's. 10:36 on the clock. Adrian Rodriguez now has it. feeds inside the paint to Okafor, who slams it down with the foul.
And man, I tell you what, Nathan, if there's anybody, if it's anybody who can execute the dunk perfectly, it's Okafor. And most of the time he doesn't draw a foul, but obviously there's nobody else on the team would have been able to dunk it and get an and one there. Great movement by Andy Okafor.
Great pass from Rodriguez as well, working past two men, feeding the open man, and Okafor slams it down, boosting the energy in Beasley Coliseum. His free throw is getting ready to go up. 20-20 is the current score, and Okafor brings it still to 20-20, rims out. It is missed, tied game, 10-28 on the clock. Dent working against Jerome Morin, who checks back into the game. In a small ball lineup for Washington State, and Hildebrandt guards Maruskas once again, pulls the three in his face, does not get it to fall, rebounded by Washington State. Rodriguez up on the right wing, trying to get a fast break opportunity going. Now they're slowing it down, gets a screen from Okafor, gets poked loose by Josh Dent, and Dent gets it stolen away, or that was Mikey Lewis who got it stolen away. Rodriguez finishes it from his own steal.
Yeah, great movement by Rodriguez, steals it away, completely flipped the defender. He went down to the floor. Rodriguez said, and Andre Rodriguez just said, forget that, I'll take it myself, goes underhand and gets the finger roll to go.
Great get movement. Back. He turned it over, but he made up for it right away, getting the steal on Mikey Lewis, and a tough layup falls. Josh Dent has it on the other side of the court. Great defense from the Cougars so far. Feeds it to the left wing. Three-pointer goes up. No good. Hildebrandt with a good closeout, and another miss from Maruskas. 22-20 is still the score. Adger Rodriguez gets a screen from Okafor, works to his right, tries to feed it inside the paint to Okafor. That time goes awry, and Josh Dent picks it up. A little bit of a deflection steal, and working inside the paint is Maruskas, who can't get it to go. Good defense once again by Washington State, and it's tipped out of bounds by Andrew McKeever. Ball and possession goes to Washington State.
Yeah, Rodriguez only had to, well, that was all the first points of the game, but I tell you, that's one way to get your first points of the game.
And Rodriguez will come out. Parker Garrett's coming in for Washington State.
And by the way, that off-ball foul earlier that you mentioned, that was on Favors. So that's his first personal. 4th team foul already in the half for Washington. Actually, 15 foul in the half already.
Morton gets open, pushes down Dent, but it didn't matter. Didn't pull the mid-range shot. Has it now, 18 on the shot clock. Morton feeds it into Okafor once again, gets another layup to fall, and it's 24-20. Washington State with the lead, 8:48 on the clock. Great passing and ball movement from Washington State, up to 5 assists in the game. Josh Dent working against Morin, feeds it to Mikey Lewis, now inside the paint into Harry Wessels. Wessels working against Okafor. In the post, spins, hook shot, won't go, but a lot of contact under the rim. Morton might get called for under the back foul.
Yes, he will. They're going to call that on him. That's going to be the 16th foul already in Washington State. 2nd team foul on Jerome Morton joins Thrasherson with 2 fouls.
And with this much foul trouble with 8 minutes and 31 seconds on the clock, you don't want to be giving the free throws to St. Mary's. As you mentioned earlier, they're the best shooting team in the West Coast Conference from the stripe. And they are inbound the ball. Morton makes Josh Dent fall down. Dent a little confused. No call, though. And now it's handed to Mikey Lewis, who travels.
Yeah, actually, I don't think Morton caused Dent to fall. I think Dent just as soon as he got the ball, he just tripped. I think as soon as Josh Dent got his hands on the ball, Dent.
Either way, ends up
Dent
in a turnover. And now Washington State taking up the court. Jerome Morton working against number 8, Rory Hawk. First time I've said his name today. And Morton is actually going to take the ball away because it's an off-ball foul against St. Mary's. Inbound coming for Washington State. 25 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah, that foul is actually going on Rory Hawk.
Morton looking to inbound it, trying to feed it to Hildebrandt. Doesn't get it there. It goes to Okafor, right back to Roan. Roan working inside the paint, gets it to Okafor at the top of the key, just under the the three-point line. Tries to steal it away, was St. Mary's, but it ends up in Morin's hand. 9 seconds on the shot clock now. Driving inside the paint, feeds to the glass on the left corner. Three-pointer, nothing but air, and it's going to be a rebound by St. Mary's. Mikey Lewis now has it, being guarded by Parker Garrett. Garrett gets screened from Maruskas. Maruskas takes it, catch and shoot from the pick and pop. No good, but an offensive rebound from St. Mary's. and Hildebrandt with a little bit too much contact on Rory Hawk, and it's going to be a foul against Washington State.
Yeah, that's going to be the 7th team foul, so that's going to put St. Mary's in the bonus for the rest of the half with 7:44 left. That's, if you're Washington State, that's the last thing you need right now, especially since you're only up by 4.
Well, even with the foul, St. Mary's is still struggling to score. Washington State is on a 6-0 run right now in about the last 3 minutes. It's been a great run for Washington State. Good defense, unless you consider the fouling. Right now, they hold a 4-point lead, though, and you don't go anywhere, though. Washington State is invigorated and excited. You're listening to KUGR Sports, the student voice of the Palouse. Welcome back to KUGR, and just as a reminder, you're watching on our YouTube channel right now, and if it would be great if we could get more subscribers, grow the channel, and grow the entire club as a whole. More faces means more opportunities for our crew here at KUGR. So reminder to please subscribe. And as we're coming back, Washington State holds a 4-point lead, 7:44 on the clock until halftime. But St. Mary's is at the line. It is number 8, Rory Hawk, the redshirt freshman, looking to shoot 2.
And we have a brand new Gale checking in for the first time. It's number 6 as the first free throw for, I think, Hawk. Yes, a free throw to go. He'll get another one, but Montes Uzanis, the 6'6" freshman from Lithuania, checks in for St. Mary's. So they're adding.
It's a substitution to probably match the speed of Washington State. They've been so quick at the beginning of this game.
Yeah,
and Hawk's second free throw is up and is good. They are not missing right at the moment. They were 20 of 20 last game against Seattle. Some big points that got them a crucial win. And now Morton taking up the court for Washington State. Feeds it to Parker Garrett. Garrett looks to feed inside the paint to Glass on a cut. Is not there. Glass now behind the three-point line, trying to get open off the ball. It is a great defense from Josh Dent, marking him down. They do get it to Glass, but still tightly guarded. Gets it back to Parker Garrett on the right wing. Tries to drive, kicks it back out to Jerome Morton. Morton working against his man. Only 5 seconds on the shot clock. Takes a step back 3. Gets it to fall.
Nothing but net for Mr. Alfredo Man, as they like to call it, based on our interview that we played in our last broadcast.
Mr. Alfredo, smooth and rich from the outside, just like that step back 3. Guards Dent, trying to get a get back 3. Gets it in front of Jerome Morton, and back-to-back three-pointers matching one another.
Right in front of his face. Dent says, anything you can do, I can do better.
Well, it's 27-25, 6:48 on the clock. Glass gets it back to Morton. Gets it to Garrett on the right wing inside the paint to Yalaho, the biggest man on the court for Washington State at 6'8". Feeds it back to Parker. Yalaho thought about the 3, now drives inside, a lot of contact.
No
Rory
foul.
Hawk falls, but it still ends up being a turnover for Washington State. Quick transition three for Hawk. He does not get it to fall, and a rebound for Washington State. Tomas Starson gets the board. 2-point lead, Washington State, 27-25, 6:18 on the clock. Jerome Morton gets it to Tomas. The Viking looking somewhere to go with it. Yalaho in the paint against Hawk, has a size mismatch. Yalaho with his size, gets inside, feeds it to Morton. A little bit of a bad pass. Had to collect it, step back, foot on the line, gets it to fall.
Nothing but net for Jerome Morton. He's just knocking everything down today. He is on fire right now.
We'll see what the scores call it. Foot appeared on the line, but at the moment it is called a three-pointer. 30-25 is the score. 5:50 on the clock. Morton feeling the step back, and Josh Dent working inside the paint, almost loses it, but there is a foul, which is going to lead to more free throws for St. Mary's.
Yeah, and based on the stat broadcast here, they're saying it is indeed a three-pointer for Jerome Morton. So that's 2 3-pointers in the last minute. I don't know what he had for breakfast and lunch this morning. Maybe some Alfredo, because whatever it is, it's keeping him locked in right now.
Pre-game meal might be what he goes for. But Jerome Morton now with 2 step-back threes. That's what woke up Washington State last game when they played against Pacific. He had 2 big three-pointers on back-to-back possessions, and it started an amazing run for Washington State. Maybe some sparks like that is what gets the team going. But Josh Dent slows the game down with a free throw here.
Yeah,
gets it to fall. Still perfect on the night of St. Mary's.
Yeah, but speaking of Jerome Morton, that last foul was on him, so that's 2 on him now. So it's Thrasterson and Morton with 2 fouls now.
Josh Dent, second free throw is up, goes down. Wasn't a perfect swish, but still goes down, and that's all that matters. 30-27 the score, 5:42 until halftime. Jerome Morton feeds it to Rodriguez. Rodriguez looking for Yalaho, but doesn't give it to him. At the top of the key still, gets it to Tomas Starson. Now gets it to Favors on the left wing. Now to Emily Yalaho, back and forth. Favors got it. Back to Yalaho, pulls a 3, short, does not go, and it's a rebound for St. Mary's. Josh Dent taking up the court once again, working against Morton. Might be putting him in foul trouble by the end of the half. Rodriguez now working against Dylan Shaw. Shaw on the left wing gets a screen from Harry Wessels, but he instead feeds it to Mikey Lewis, gets another screen from Wessels. Favors guarding Lewis, doesn't matter. Great layup, contest defense, and it goes down 30-29. Great job using the right hand from Mikey Lewis. Jerome Morton takes it up the court for Washington State, gets it to Tomas Starson. Adria Rodriguez has it on the right wing, feeds it to Yalaho, another open 3. This time it goes down.
Yeah, that wasn't a perfect switch. That kind of rattled around the rim, but Washington State is hot from 3 today, 54%, but this is clearly the best thing that's going right on offense, Washington State so far.
Josh Dent pulls a 3, trying to match it. That time it does not go. Favors with a tough rebound, gets it. Adria Rodriguez taking off the court on the right wing, drives inside the paint, almost gets it taken away. A high pass, almost turning it over, but collected by Yalaho, feeds it to Favors, gets it to Tomas. All the way across the court, back to Rodriguez. Favors, deep 3, gets it to fall from long range.
Why not, Nathan? It's just been that kind of game for Washington State, and it's paid off as Randy Bennett takes a timeout. Boy, am I liking what I'm seeing so far today. I don't know about you.
That's that long distant range from Richard's Favors. That was what some would call a bad shot, not to the best shooter on the Palouse. It goes down, and Washington State shooting a tremendous 58% from behind the line. But with that is going to be a timeout on the floor. 36-29 is the score. 4 minutes, 6 seconds until the half. Don't go anywhere, though. You're listening to KUGR Sports, the student voice of the Palouse. Welcome back to KUGR Radio. Once again, my name is Nathan Eshelman, joined by Declan Curran. Declan, we're watching a great game. It's 36-29 with 4 minutes left until halftime. And similar to earlier in the season, Washington State just knows how to score against St. Mary's.
Yeah, definitely. This is yeah, like you said earlier. I mean, you can expand more on it if you want, but David Riley sees film on St. Mary's like nobody does before. And mind you, this is the best defensive team in the WCC.
They give up the fewest points per game, and in a couple of different defensive categories they lead in as well. With a great size and speed all around, they've been such a hard team to score against. Washington State, with the hustle and the energy and just smart basketball, has been what's taken over this game. They have a 7-point lead. St. Mary's does have possession. They're taking it up the court out of the timeout. Josh Dent working against Adrian Rodriguez, gets a screen from Paulus Marasquez, or actually ignores it, gets it from McKeever. McKeever at the top of the key, hands it off to Mikey Lewis. Mikey Lewis gets a mismatch against Andy Okafor, takes a step back, mid-range shot, won't go. Long rebound goes to Washington State. 3:48 on the clock until half. Ace Glass has it on the right wing, feeds it to Andy Okafor inside the paint. Looks for a man to feed it to, gets it to Glass. A little bit of a sidestep, feeds it, goes inside the paint, driving against Dent, gets in the post, fakes the shot, trying to feed it to Rodriguez now, resets the play, 10 seconds on the shot clock. He's going to get a screen from Okafor. Rodriguez feeds into Okafor inside the paint, gets it stripped away. Great hands from Dylan Shaw to stop an easy look from Andy Okafor. And now Shaw feeds it to Dent on left wing three, falls, and it's a 4-point game. St. Mary's up to 32, Washington State 36, 3:10 on the clock. Tomas has it for Washington State. Feeds it to Favors on the left wing. Back to Rodriguez. Rodriguez trying to run a play. Fakes a screen from Favors inside the paint. Tries to feed it to Andy Okafor. Goes awry and out of bounds. Turnover from Washington State. St. Mary's gets possession. 2:58 on the clock.
Yeah, that three-pointer by Joshua Dent might just be the momentum shift that St. Mary's is looking for.
And now Dent feeds it to Marasquez. Marasquez now to Shaw. All the way back to Josh. Josh gets another mismatch, but switches once again. Rodriguez onto him. Mikey Lewis now has the ball, guarded by Glass, inside the paint to McKeever. McKeever feeds it out to Mikey Lewis. Tries to do a step back. Too much footwork, and it's called a travel. Turnover. Washington State possession once again.
Yeah, those travels are really killing St. Mary's so far early on. We haven't had one of those from Washington State yet, but St. Mary's is moving their feet a little too much. That's something they're definitely going to work on, especially since they still have another game against Gonzaga next Saturday at home.
Ace Glass feeds it to Rodriguez. Rodriguez right back to Ace. Ace gets it back to him once again, trying to work the offense. Off-ball screens from Okafor, trying to feed it to an open Ace Glass, but a pass from Rodriguez gets tipped and stopped for Mikey Lewis. And in transition, Josh Dent gets fouled, and that is not the man you want to foul.
No, it's not. But and they're going to call that on Rodriguez. So that's going to be his second already. So now you got two Cougs with 2 fouls in the roster, Morton and Rodriguez.
3 men with 2 fouls could put the team in foul trouble, especially when they're trying to run these smaller lineups. This is the biggest lineup we've seen of the night. Okafor, Yalaho, Favors, Rodriguez, and Glass in for Washington State to guard the big size of St. Mary's. And Dent almost misses the free throw, but just want to get the fans a little bit on their feet. 36-33 now the score after the first made free throw from Josh Dent. His second attempt in 6 of the game is up, and it goes down perfect from the line, and so is the team. 36-34 is the score. 2 minutes, 22 seconds until halftime. Glass working against Dent, trying to find an open man, sizing him up, dribbling with his left hand, hands it to Okafor. Okafor screen, back to Glass, feeds it to Okafor inside the paint, fakes the shot, puts it up late, does not get the layup to fall, but he does get his own offensive rebound. 16 on the clock as it resets. Glass trying to figure out where to go on the offense, gets a screen from Okafor once again, fakes the shot, tries to feed it into the paint to Okafor. Okafor working inside the post, takes a dribble, takes a step, works inside, almost gets it to fall, but a good tough rebound from Paulus Marasquez, and Marasquez feeds it to open Dylan Shaw from 3, and who drains it, and it's now a lead for St. Mary's.
Yeah, this is it's the 8-0 run over the last 97 seconds. Washington State, no points on the last 2.5 minutes. This is Washington State had a pretty big lead. Now all of a sudden that lead is gone, and David Riley takes a timeout. He is not happy with what he's seeing from his team right now.
In just a minute and 40 seconds, it is an 8-0 run that gives St. Mary's one of their first leads of the game. 50% from three from them, 58 from Washington State. The difference maker is the fouls and the free throws. Washington State has 9 fouls. St. Mary's has been a little more safe on defense, and they only have 4.
Yeah, definitely, especially with Dent and especially with Dent committing most of those free throws, over 90% from the line. That's one of the guys. That's one of the guys, if not the one guy you don't want at the line, and it's not working out for Washington State so far.
If you're a top shooter in the nation of free throws, that is definitely a sign. Don't foul that man. But Washington State takes it out of the timeout, working inside or trying to work outside the paint was Rodriguez, but he's fouled by Dylan Shaw, second foul of the game. 15 foul for St. Mary's. Still a 1-point lead, just 94 seconds until the half concludes. Washington State has 24 seconds on the shot clock, gets it into Rodriguez. Glass fed it to him. Now on the left wing, doesn't want the screen from Okafor, calls it off. Favors trying to get open. He himself does the screen. Rodriguez almost shoots a mid-range shot, gets it to Okafor, who gets a tough contested and one to fall. His past two didn't go, but that one might have been the toughest one of the night. Working with his right hand, fading to his left with the contact, gets it to roll in another and one opportunity for Washington State to be converted. And Okafor ready to give the Washington State Cougars a 2-point lead. His free throw is up and good. 39-37 the score. Just 3 free throw attempts for Washington State. Gets that one to go. 39-37 is the score. 1 minute, 15 seconds until halftime. Dent hands it off to Marasquez. Marasquez working against Yalaho. Okafor comes in and sends it out.
Yeah, that's the kind of play we see from Okafor. Just gets up, swats that thing out of here. He's like, I'll take that, thank you very much. It is off of Washington State, obviously, but that helps Washington State maintain the lead for now.
And Okafor has been a nightmare for St. Mary's tonight.
Nathan, I wouldn't say for St. Mary's, for every team that faces him.
Well, St. Mary's gets the inbound, tries to get a three-pointer, does not go. Long rebound, offensive rebound, leads to an open opportunity for Josh Dent, who converts it. And it's a 1-point lead once again for St. Mary's. Under a minute now left to go until half. Emily Olaho hands it to Ace Glass. 18 seconds on the shot clock. Steps back, working against Marasquez. Size disadvantage with Yalaho working against Dent. 10 seconds on the shot clock now. Right wing inside the paint. Yalaho trying to find somewhere to go with it. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Adrian Rodriguez, not the best shooter. He has it. Fakes the shot. Puts up a left-handed mid-range shot. Does not go. Long rebound and no more shot clock. 25 seconds until halftime. St. Mary's has possession. They also have a 1-point lead. They're going to try to run it out. Looks like they're going to take their time to run a play. Might have something to do with Rory Hawk on the left wing. Andrew McKeever and Rory Hawk working together. McKeever's going to come up and screen Rodriguez. Works a mismatch. Rodriguez working against Dent. Dent, step back three, and Rodriguez's face does not go. And that will not count, and it will do it for the first half. St. Mary Gales have a 1-point lead over the Washington State Cougars after what has been a thrilling and exciting first half. Declan.
Oh man, Nathan, you couldn't have said it more perfect. I am so excited to play for the second half. This is shaping up to be a fantastic finish, win or lose. I mean, obviously Washington State's been competitive this entire game. When many people thought that Washington State wouldn't be competitive in this game. But yeah, win or lose, Washington State has nothing to hang their heads about. They've been playing an excellent game so far, and we'll have to see what happens in the second half.
Well, the main difference in the game right now has been the free throws, with St. Mary's making 6 more than Washington State. But all around, Washington State shooting phenomenally. 55% from the field and 58% from the three-point line. David Riley has to be happy with the shots that his guys are taking, and they are making.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, only 58% from the line, but I mean, this has to be like the most 3-pointers that the Cougs have made in the first half of any game. I mean, I'd have to go back, back, back to. I'd have to go back to all the stats from the previous games, but so far this has been the best first half shooting performance in terms of 3-pointers are concerned, even though it's only at 58% at the moment.
There have been a couple other hot games where Washington State just goes on an amazing scoring run, but tonight against this type of opponent, these shots matter more and more. And throughout the season, Washington State's offense only gets better in the second half, so we'll see if that continues with that same trend. And the second half, Beasley Coliseum has been thrilled and has been an exciting crowd tonight, with their Cougars being down only 1 to the highly ranked St. Mary's of the West Coast Conference. But with this being at halftime, we're going to come back just in a little bit. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to KUGR Sports, the student voice of the Palouse.
Yeah, I mean, we have to stay consistent, have to catch rhythm. I think all these games that are left are really important, especially like going into the WCC tournament. So getting as much reps as we can during practice, and also, getting that confidence in games and going confident into the WCC tournament. I think that's the main thing, and just winning all these games, as getting as high as a seed as we can. So yeah, just definitely just staying consistent, being in the gym, and playing this last stretch out.
Yeah, the key points of that interview or of that answer by Favors: stay consistent and be competitive. And those are the two things Washington State is definitely doing so far in this first half. What were your thoughts of the first half?
Well, this first half has been amazing when they're shooting the ball. When they get the ball out of their hands, it's finding ways into the net. 58 from 3 is phenomenal, especially for them on the season. And a lot of that comes from confidence. As Baber said in that interview as well, the team wants to invoke confidence in their play. No matter how these last 3 games go, they want to prep themselves for the tournament by shooting the ball and shooting it confidently. And that is exactly what they've done. Hearts Favors had that deep 3 from the left wing in that first half, and it was electric. That's just such a deep shot that gets you amped up. It gets your teammates amped up. Running to the bench, Tomas ran out of the bench, going to the timeout. They jumped on each other. They were energetic. The entire crowd was energetic, and it's just those types of plays gets you excited and fired up for the rest of the season, along with your teammates. It fires your teammates up and motivates them. ND Okafor has also had a couple of those types of plays where you just go insane with how you make a shot. He had one that was offhand fading away while being fouled. It's just an insane shot to make, especially against Harry Wessels, who's 7'1", and then he had a fadeaway jumper. Not what you see out of ND Okafor too much, but he made it over a 7'3" player. They're understanding the game. They're getting each other hyped, and they're making some amazing shots.
Yeah. Now, if you're David Riley, what are you telling the team coming out of the halftime locker room?
What you got to do is stop with the bad fouls. They have been a couple fouls in the first half that they could have been avoided. There are a lot of transition fouls that Rodriguez was a little aggressive on and wasn't using his hands properly, and he fouled Josh Dent. And that is the guy you don't want to foul, as we said multiple times in the first half. Just an amazing free throw shooter. And if you're fouling the guy who has top in the nation type of stats, you cannot be giving that guy any opportunities. If anything, foul Andrew McKeever, 7'3". He struggles to make some free throws. Maybe foul him, but stop with the bad fouls. The offense has been great. There's been a couple possessions where they try to force some tough shots or tough passes, and that's led to turnovers, which has led to those fouls or easy shots. And also to help out the defense, a couple three-pointers have been open for St. Mary's. Whether they've been knocked down or not, they've been open, and they've attempted 13 of them, and all of them appear to be open, other than the one that Josh Dent hit in the face of Jerome Morton.
So since we have a little bit of time, why don't we take a look at some other WCC action? We have 3 games going on right now. We have this one. We have Portland taking on Seattle U in Seattle. Seattle U with a 31-20 lead just started the second half. Halftime, Santa Clara leads San Francisco 44-38. Earlier today in Corvallis, Oregon State beat Pepperdine 83-73. LMU wins on the road at San Diego 77-65. And probably the shocker of the day so far, Gonzaga beats Pacific, but only by 9 points, 71-62. A lot of people thought Gonzaga would blow them out, especially after how Washington State played against Pacific on Wednesday.
Well, the score is also a little bit deceiving. That game was tied at halftime. That was a phenomenal game. Gonzaga, with their stout, just all-around play, they were smart with the ball from what it appeared in the final minutes. They understood the situation that they were in, and they went smart to end the game. And that's how they were able to pull away at the end. And that was a trap game that you usually see on the road. Gonzaga was in Spokane at home. They should not be in that position against Pacific, who is a pretty decent team of their own regard. But Gonzaga being regarded as one of the best teams in the nation, they should not be having this close of battles against teams like Pacific. I got to say, though, got to give a big shout out to Rochelin of Pacific. He had 14 rebounds. The hustle he showed is something that you got to show appreciation for. So maybe he'll get some honors for West Coast Conference.
Yeah, Gonzaga next up, they have their what they hope to be is a revenge game against Portland, who obviously we know pulled the big upset on Gonzaga at the beginning of this month in Portland, and then after that they have to go on the road to St. Mary's, a place that they have had trouble winning in years past. But with the way St. Mary's is playing this first half, Gonzaga might actually be able to beat them. So
every game is different when you match up against your opponent, and that game should be very exciting. They have what I would say a hatred for each other. It's one of the better rivalries in the West Coast Conference, as two of the best teams in the years past. And also making note of St. Mary's, after this game, their final two games are against two of the better teams in the West Coast Conference in Santa Clara, the next game, and then the final game of the season being Gonzaga. West Coast Conference scheduling cooked up with that one. That is going to be phenomenal scheduling for not only St. Mary's, but also Gonzaga.
yeah, and coming down into the final week of the season, which is hard to say already at this point. It's crazy. We're 2 weeks away from conference tournament. Conference tournament is vital for the WCC because if you get the first or second seed, you get to buy all the way to the semifinals and have a legit shot at winning the conference tournament. And right now, Santa Clara and St. Mary's are tied at second going into that matchup on Wednesday in Moraga. So obviously, Santa Clara fans want Washington State to win this game and win their game, so they have sole possession of second place. If you get third or fourth place, which Washington State is trying to get into right now, they're just outside. They're currently in fifth, but if you get third or fourth place, you get to buy all the way to the quarterfinals, and that means you only need 2 wins to go to the NCAA tournament. So obviously, this is very critical basketball. It's very critical basketball for Washington State down the stretch.
That makes every single play that much more impactful. And we're out of the halftime. So, Declan, you take it away with the play-by-play. Three Hearts Favors, and the crew looks ready. We're ready up here in the booth. Let's get it underway.
Appreciate it, Nathan. Yes, it'll be Hearts Favors to inbound just in front of the broadcasters. National game here on ESPN2 tonight. Only the second national game the Cougs have had here at home. Next one is also national LMU. That's ESPNU, but that's away. Cougs with the ball start second half. Favors gets it into Morton. Cross midcourt. Left wing, Yalaho being guarded by Polis Morauskas. Gets out to Glass. Glass thought about the shot. Instead takes it out left wing. Guarded by Dent. Glass, 10 seconds on the shot clock. Drives around Dent. Gets it to go and one. Counted in the foul. Ace Glass with a shot at 3 coming up.
He mean mugged Josh Dent after that as well. Dent did a great job guarding Glass in the first half, but Glass knew he got the better of him there, getting him to jump, making the easy layup from it, and he understood, I just got the better of you in that possession.
And that's going to go on Joshua Dent. That's his first personal first of the half. Ace Glass gets a 3-point play to go. So Washington State now is up by 2 points after being down by 1 at half. They're all of a sudden up by 2. It's 42-40 Washington State. St. Mary's with their first possession of the second half. It's Dent now. Dent with the basketball. 16 on the shot clock at half court. Kicks it out to Mikey Lewis. Lewis being guarded by Favors. Drives around Favors. It takes a few rolls around the rim, but that one goes in. Mikey Lewis gets that one to fall and ties this game up at 42.
Great power from the small guard working against Favors, getting inside.
And Morton hands it off to Favors, drives on the basket. He's going to get called for the travel. First travel of the day for Washington State. That's a turnover back to St. Mary's. Dylan Shaw now over to Joshua Dent, being guarded by Morton. Morauskas, left wing is Dylan Shaw. Over to Mikey Lewis. Underhand or behind the back dribble. Going up for the shot as Lewis doesn't fall. Rebound Washington State. It's Favors.
That was a great hustle play by Okafor. He didn't get the rebound, but he got the hustle play to give the ball to the Cougars.
Glass fakes the 3, gives it out to Okafor. Back to Glass. Under the basket, being guarded by Westels. Kicks it out to Yalaho. Back out to Morton. Thought about the 3. Instead, he'll take it to the basket. Okafor driving around the lane. Gets contact. Wants a foul. Doesn't get it. St. Mary's gets the rebound. It's Lewis now. Over to Joshua Dent. Kicks it out to Morauskas. Finds Westels underneath the basket for the easy jam. Okafor is pleading for a foul, doesn't get it. It's 44-42 St. Mary's.
It was such an easy bucket because Glass was matched up against the 7'1" center. That is just an easy bucket for St. Mary's. Best shot that you'll take.
Favors for three, no good, off the rim, out of bounds, off of St. Mary's. Washington State maintains possession. Great defense by Okafor to make sure that goes off St. Mary's and keep possession with Washington State.
A rare miss from Favors. He had an open look ready to make it, but he's getting picked up by Ace Glass, telling him, you got it, man. You keep shooting.
Morton now off the inbounds, gives it to Yavajo, being guarded by Morauskas. Looking for somebody open, 15 on the shot clock. Finds Favors. Now out to Morton, right wing. Being guarded by Lewis. Heavy pressure put on by Lewis. Morton loses it for a second, gets it back. Morton, 3 on the shot clock. Great block by Lewis. Shot clock doesn't reset. Blocked by Morauskas twice. St. Mary's with the steal and the possession. It's Dent now. Kicks it out to Lewis for 3. No. Offensive rebound. Dent. He kicks it out. Or he shoots the 3 from the right wing. No good. Out of bounds off of St. Mary's. Washington State's basketball.
The energy is shifting right now. St. Mary's with a lot of hustle. 2 blocks from Morauskas and Lewis against Morton. Morton made 2 step-back threes. That time he tried 2 step-back mid-range shots. Did not work out. 2 blocks, and the energy from the Gales is there right now.
It's Morton now out to Okafor. Okafor looking to get something going. Driving around Wessels with a one-handed finger roll. Doesn't go. Off the rim. Washington State, all the hot shooting we saw in the first half has certainly cooled down the second half thus far. As Morauskas loses it momentarily, gets it back, kicks it to Lewis, back out to Morauskas. Thought about the 3. He'll drive to the basket around Yavajo. Once contact, doesn't get it. Missed the shot, gets the rebound and the putback. St. Mary's up 46-42.
The aggression from St. Mary's is there, and while that shot did not fall, Yavajo with great defense on the first try does not result in stopping them with a good fallback.
And Ace Glass wanted contact. Doesn't get it the first time, but gets it the second time on Harry Wessels. So that's going to be on Wessels, his first personal, second team foul. Early on, it's going to be on the floor, so it's going to be an inbounds for Ace Glass.
And now McKeever is coming into the game for Wessels. Still 2 tall players. No matter who you have in the lineup, you have to worry about a man who is 7'1" or taller.
And Thrasherson checks back in for Washington State too. It's so great to see Thrasherson back on the floor. Missed almost 2 months with an injury. Much needed return for Washington State. Glass drives to the lane. That doesn't go. Washington State is cold right now. No points in the last 3 minutes and 8 seconds. St. Mary's right now on a 6-0 run. Washington State trying to stop that. It's Dent over to Morauskas. Morauskas being guarded by Thrasherson. Drives around Thrasherson. Wants a foul, doesn't get it. Instead, shoots it, lays it up instead. St. Mary's now up 6, 48-42, 16 minutes left in regulation.
The type of shots Washington State was making in the first half, St. Mary's is following it with some tough shots of their own. That was heavily tight defense from the Viking, but great job getting it to fall was Morauskas.
Glass drives around the lane. Past 2 defenders, gets that one to go. Does a little bit of a flex, but it looks like it was towards the camera, not towards the St. Mary's players. Rest did the right thing. Didn't call a technical foul there. Ace Glass on the board. He's up to 8 points, and St. Mary's lead is down to 4. It's 48-44. 15:30 left in regulation. Morauskas loses that, but they're going to say it's off the legs of Yavajo. St. Mary's maintains possession as we have hit the under 16 media timeout. 15:26 left in the second half. St. Mary's 48, Washington State 44.
Ace Glass taking it into his own hands in the second half. He's been their only scorer, and it's been because of his drive and his energy. The rest of the team might need a little bit of a pick-me-up. They're so hot in the first half that the second half is slowed down a little bit, but Ace Glass has been their leading scorer all season long. While he has not had the best of games as of recently, right now he is the drive and the energy in the start of this half. He's got to pick up his teammates around him, and whether that's from the ball movement or just him scoring more and more, the Cougars might get back in this game from the freshman.
Indeed, yes. Ever since the 40-point game, he has been the leading scorer. Well, with 15:26 left in regulation, St. Mary's 48, Washington State 44. We'll take a break and be back after this timeout. You're listening to Washington State men's basketball on KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. And we're back inside Beasley Coliseum. St. Mary's 48, Washington State 44. Right now, the leading scorer for St. Mary's is Joshua Dent, 17 points. His career high is 26. That was also against Washington State earlier in the season. Nathan, what do the Cougs have to do to contain Joshua Dent?
I mean, they tried to put Rodriguez on him earlier in the first half, and that did not work. Rodriguez, throughout the season, has been their best on-the-ball defender, but tonight and previously in the season, it does not work. He has 17 right now, 9 away from when he matched, but that game against St. Mary's earlier in the season, 3 players scored 20. Morasquez had 24, and Lewis had 20. Right now, they're doing their best to contain it, but St. Mary's is spreading the ball out a little bit better as well.
Dent gets the inbounds, finds Morasquez, almost loses it briefly, but gets it back. Morasquez being guarded by Thrasterson. Once contact gets it, they're going to say it's on the floor. It's on Thrasterson. Fans don't like it, and we got to see the replay here. They're showing on the big board, and that looked to be on Morasquez. What do you think about that, Nathan?
It did seem like a lot of a lead with the shoulder. David Riley, though, not going to challenge it. I think Thrasterson did have his right foot up. If you don't have both feet planted, it can't really be called as a charge.
As McKeever gets the inbounds from Joshua Dent, lays it up and in. St. Mary's biggest lead of the game up to this point, as far as I can remember, it's 50-44 St. Mary's. Still a 2-possession game, but this game is still anybody's game with 15 minutes left in regulation. Rodriguez out to Yavajo, right wing. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Kicks it out to Rodriguez, left wing. Rodriguez takes it on McKeever. His layup doesn't go. Favors with the rebound and the putback to finally get some points on the board for Washington State.
Favors following it. Rodriguez got put into a tough position with little seconds on the shot clock, but great job following it and getting the layup to fall. A little bit of contact in the paint once again.
Morasquez off of Thrasterson. That doesn't go. Rebound Favors. Washington State trying to get some momentum here. It's Yavajo going up. Thought about the dunk. Instead, he'll drive past the defender. Morasquez laid up and in. St. Mary's now is only up by 2 points. It's 50-48, 14-11 here. And the packed house at Beasley tonight is going crazy. It's Mikey Lewis now. Lewis driving around Thrasterson, gets that one to go. Quiets the crowd for just a little bit. It's 52-48 St. Mary's, 14 minutes left in regulation.
Great drive by Lewis, getting past both Rodriguez
Ace Glass drives to the lane, gets that one to go. Count it, and the foul for Ace Glass. A chance at another three-point play for Ace Glass.
As you said earlier in the game, when you do one thing, I can do it better. Glass saw that he got scored on the other end. Right there, took it straight to him and took some contact, gets the and one. This is now, I believe, the 4th and 1 of the game, or 5th and 1 of the game for Washington State. The driving has been amazing, and St. Mary's has not done a great job stopping them inside the paint. If they have, it just leads to fouls.
And not only that, but that is the second time this half Joshua Dent has been the victim of the and one. He gets called for that foul, so that's his second. 13th foul. Glass completes the three-point play again, gets that one to go, and he's going to sit. And Mr. Alfredo himself, Jerron Morton, will check in for Ace Glass.
Just a 1-point lead now for St. Mary's, 52-51. My goodness, it's just been such a back-and-forth game.
Man, I cannot wait for the finish of this game. We still got a long way to go. Anybody's game. Washington State trying to send their seniors out on the right note on senior night. Morasquez kicks out in the corner for three is Lewis. He gets that one to go, and he is fouled. Count it, and a foul. Mikey Lewis a chance at 4 as he gets that. He gets fouled on the three-point shot.
And I mean, just as I was saying about Ace Glass, anything you do, I can do better. Lewis gets it better with the points, gets the guaranteed 3 points, and now with a chance at 4.
Yeah, that's going to go on Jerron Morton. So that's going to be Morton's third personal. First Cougar into foul trouble today. First team foul of the half for Washington State. Butch stand in front of the student section, wants the crowd to get loud. They are. Here come the cheers. Rattles around the rim and doesn't go. What a big break for Washington State. That's the first miss from the free throw line today for St. Mary's. Perfect in the first half. That miss gets them down to 88%. It's still a 4-point game. Rodriguez being guarded by Lewis. Drives around Lewis. breaks past him and scores. That's an easy layup for Adria Rodriguez. 55-53 St. Mary's.
And the bench gets hyped. That's a man that doesn't get too many points, and when he does, it is energetic. Right here, he's getting the steal.
Rodriguez fighting for it, and finally taken away by Joshua Dent. Maintains possession. It's Lewis. The fans want to travel. Didn't look like much of a travel to me. Lewis thought about the three, thought about it again. Kicks it out to Morauskas. Morauskas driving around Thrasterson. Once contact, gets it, and a foul. Count it, and a foul for Polis Morauskas, and a chance at three. And the crowd is really livid now at the officiating. And that's going to go on Thrasterson. That's going to be his third personal. So now it's Thrasterson and Morton with 3 fouls.
So David Riley on that last possession. Rodriguez looked to get a steal, was kicked by Dent. Dent tries to call a timeout, doesn't get it called, then goes over the back. It should have been a backcourt violation as well. 2 chances at a turnover on St. Mary's. Then gets down the court and an and 1 for St. Mary's.
But the free throw doesn't go. Morauskas misses it, second miss, and on the miss, he gets his own rebound. Whistle blows. Are we going to have another foul called? Let's see what we got here.
It's another foul in Washington State. My goodness, the crowd might not be very happy with the referees after this game.
But I'm sure, as on the inbounds, Rodriguez steals it. St. Mary's gets it right back. Underhand is Hawk from McKeever. Doesn't go. He gets fouled. Yet another foul on Washington State. It'll be 2 free throws coming for Rory Hawk.
In what has been a roller coaster of a season for Washington State fans, the past 2 minutes has been a high elevation of emotions all the way down to the bottom. Each time they get a steal or a big shot, St. Mary's shuts it down with either a turnover that they force of their own or a bucket.
And you can tell by the sound of that crowd, that free throw is missed by Rory Hawk. St. Mary's has missed their last 3 free throws. That foul's going to go on Okafor, his first personal. I'm going to shut up and we can let the fans tell you the story for the second free throw. And, yep, you heard it. He got the second free throw. It goes 1 of 2 from the line. St. Mary's lead up to 5. It's 58-53. Jerome Morton now out to Adria Rodriguez.
With now the 3rd miss from the free throw line, every point matters, especially in games like this that could impact St. Mary's.
As Simon Hildebrandt checking in now. He has the ball, gives out to Vavers, right wing. Thought about the 3. Instead kicks out to Morton, out to Rodriguez. 5 on the shot clock. Rodriguez drives past Lewis. Off the glass, doesn't go. Rebound, St. Mary's. Andrew McKeever hauls it in. It's Joshua Dent now. Now it's out to McKeever. Out to Dent. Just inside the paint. McKeever underneath the glass looking for Morauskas. Almost lost it. Got it back. Jump shot is good. St. Mary's now up by 7 with 12 minutes left in the game.
That was a tough jumper. Hildebrandt couldn't do nothing but watch that be swished. 7-point lead for St. Mary's, and they need to get some quick points if you're Washington State.
Morton now. Morton underneath the glass. Okafor tipped by Lewis and deflected, taken away by McKeever. Lewis coast to coast, gets that one to go. Timeout called by Washington State. It is now a 9-point lead for St. Mary's, their biggest of the game. 62-53, 11:31 left in the second half. And boy, everything that was going right for Washington State is going wrong, and the Cougs are just falling apart every which way now.
Well, it's a 7-0 run in the last minute and a half for St. Mary's, and this is not the type of run that will end the game. Washington State can still bounce back from this, but right now this is a very useful media timeout. David Riley needs to get his guys together, and that last possession was probably the most infuriating to David because Okafor had a mismatch inside the paint, and Morton tried to feed it in with him with a floater inside, but it gets batted away because Morton put a little bit too much on it, and it led to a turnover for St. Mary's. They have a 9-point lead, 62-53. 9-point leads aren't the end of the game, especially when you have 11 and a half minutes left to go. Washington State could still very well get back in this game, especially with the way they've been shooting.
Well, what do they need to do to get back in this game?
Well, I think they should start being smarter with their passes. The shots are going in, whether that's from Okafor or that's from their star players like Glass or Favors. Those are the guys you need to keep making an impact. Glass has been out of the game for a little bit, but he could get back on the offensive side of the ball. He could score some more. Big three-pointers are made in the first half. Some big three-pointers are needed in the second.
Well, we'll step away and be back after a short break. It's St. Mary's 62, Washington State 53, 11:31 left in regulation. This is Washington State men's basketball on KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. And we're back here inside Visa Coliseum. St. Mary's out of the gate, starting hot. Absolutely starting to pull the wheels off of Washington State right now. It's 62-53, 11:31 left in regulation. St. Mary's is a little bit cold from the free throw line, 75% right now. It'll be Washington State's ball as Parker Garrett checks back in for Ace Glass. Parker Garrett's and Ace Glass checking, actually. It'll be Favors and Rodriguez to take a seat. So 2 substitutions out of the timeout for Washington State. It's Morton now. Kicks it out to Glass. Deep three. Missed everything. He's just going to let that go out of bounds. That is another turnover back to St. Mary's.
Well, Ace Glass, that's an open shot. You got to make that. But the freshman just a little errant with how it goes. And David Riley quickly, after the media timeout, he wants to talk to his guys. It's very rare to see that. Only one possession. It did not go the way Washington State wanted it to. They're now at the halfway mark, 50% from the field and the three-point line. Glass should make those shots. I do think you have to have that J.R. Smith mentality. Every shot that I don't take is a miss. So you've got to take everything you can. Even if you go 0 for 18, at least you took the shots.
And that actually leads us to another media timeout. This is the under 12 media timeout. 62-53 St. Mary's. Washington State will try to stop the St. Mary's momentum after this break. So we'll take one with them. It's 62-53 St. Mary's, 11:18 left in the second half. This is Washington State men's basketball on KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. back out of the under 12 media timeout. St. Mary's 62, Washington State 53. Nathan, man, the Cougars need ace glass to get the Cougars need ace glass to get hot here.
I mean, you could have a couple guys get hot. I mean, Okafor has been their star of the day. The hustle and energy he's bringing has been there. But Ace Glass himself, he's still 4 for 8. The three-point line has not been beneficial, at least with that last shot. It missed everything. But he cannot keep his head down. You got to keep moving forward and take every better shot that you can.
It's Dent now over to Hawk, back over to Dent. Left wing for 3. Lewis, no good. Rebound by St. Mary's. Now it's Lewis and taken away by Jerron Morton. Kicks out to Okafor. He throws it down. That's another slam for Andy Okafor. Who else? Off the assist from Jerron Morton. That sparks a little momentum into the crowd. It's 62-55 St. Mary's.
What a power play right there. And Washington State out of the timeout switched to a zone. It appears to be a 3-2 zone, and it's worked that last possession. We'll see if they keep it going for the rest of the game.
Lewis out to Dent. Out to Hawk. Lewis left wing for 3. That's nothing but net. As he looks back, as he goes back, he trips over the foot of Hildebrandt. Mikey Lewis with a 3.
And that is the weakness of a 3-2 zone. The corners can be open if you're not doing well with your switches.
Glass underhand to Okafor, back out to Glass. Thought about the 3, being guarded by Hawk. Once a foul gets it, that's going to go on Rory Hawk. That's going to be his second personal, 4th team foul of the half. They're going to say that's on the 4th, so it's going to be an inbounds for Washington State, and hopefully that sparks a little bit of momentum into Washington State down by 10 with just over 10 minutes remaining. It's Okafor. Okafor around McKeever. Get the shot up, doesn't go. Rebound Moralskis in St. Mary's. It's Dent now.
Something seems bleak right now for Washington State. The guys you want shooting are shooting. They're just not making it. Now they're looking at Emily Alaho coming off the bench.
Dent, and right in the face of Garrett, drills a 3, and then looks back at his bench, celebrates. It's 68-53. St. Mary's with their largest lead at 13. Glass going coast to coast, reverse. That one doesn't go. Ace Glass is having a cold shooting night in the second half, and now he gets called for a foul on Dylan Shaw going the other way. So that's going to be the second foul on Ace Glass and the 5th team foul. 2 more by St. Mary's in the bonus as Hildebrandt will check out and Garrett's will check out. Yalaho and Rodriguez check back in for the Cougs.
A little bit of a frustration foul right there from Ace Glass. He moved up the court trying to get a steal after the miss, but a lot of contact to the hands, kind of complaining to the ref. But there was so much contact, and it was a little vicious, if you'd say. So easy call there for the referees.
It's Dent now off the inbounds pass, still with the ball. Trying to find somebody open. Finally does. That was Dylan Shaw. Now it's back out to Mikey Lewis. Taken away by Morton. He was looking for Dylan Shaw. Jerome Morton was having none of that. He takes that one away. Trying to drive coast to coast. Kicks it out to Glass as Morton was going to throw that away. Made the wise decision to kick it out to Glass. 15 on the shot clock. That's Glass with the ball in the corner. Glass driving to the lane. Gets that one up and finally gets one to go. Ace Glass with a sigh of relief on that one. Stops the 6-0 run by St. Mary's. 68-57 St. Mary's.
Glass had McKeever on him. Uses his speed to get around the size, and David beats Goliath in the paint. Good bucket for Washington State.
As Dylan Shaw tries to keep that one in bounds. Goes off his hands. It's back over to Washington State. Sparks a little momentum into the crowd. And boy, Washington State needs any momentum they can get right about now.
I mean, they're shooting 50-50. 50 from the field, 50 from the 3, along with 10 assists. The ball movement is there. They can still get back in this game. The shot makers just got to keep making the shots that they have been earlier in the first half.
Ace Glass over to Morton. Thought about driving coast to coast. Doesn't. Now he'll take it under the rim. Little underhand goes off the backboard and doesn't get it, but he's fouled by Mikey Lewis. That's going to be his second 15 foul, and that's going to put Jerome Morton at the line to shoot 2. Washington State shooting 80% from the line today. If you're Washington State, you need Morton to make these free throws.
It's been an interesting tactic going downhill with the small guards up against Andrew McKeever. He's 7'3". Usually the math on that doesn't make sense, but it's worked out.
First free throw from Morton is good. Second one on the way. 83% from the line for Washington State is 68-58 St. Mary's. 8:22 left in regulation. Washington State trying to pick up a win on the board of any sport today as the second free throw is missed. Women's basketball got another blowout loss at the hands of Oregon State today in Corvallis, and the baseball team blows a 2-0 lead, gets walked off in the bottom of the ninth by Cal Poly and loses 3-2. McKeever goes up around ace glass and throws it down. 70-58, St. Mary's, 8 minutes left in regulation.
That was bad zone positioning by Envy Okafor. He needed to be in the paint. He got a little bit caught out by the three-point line, and it led to just the easiest bucket you can have for a tall man like McKeever.
Yamaha out to glass. Deep three off the rim, no good. Rebound, Polis Moralskis.
Glass is just overcorrecting his shot. He's moving with too much momentum, and he's overcorrecting himself.
Moralskis around Yamaha. Yoaho got his hands on that just a little bit, but Moralskis still gets it to go. 72-58 St. Mary's. Despite the Cougs being down 14, a lot of the crowd is still here. They still believe in a Washington State comeback, but if they need a comeback, Washington State has to do something here in the last 7:20. It's Ace Glass driving around two defenders, trying to get it off. 9 seconds on the shot clock, gets it to Yoaho. Yoaho thought about the three, almost loses it out of bounds, but either way, it falls into the hands of a St. Mary's Gale. It's Rory Hawk. Now into the hands of Joshua Dent. Dent trying to find somebody. 20 seconds on the shot clock. Right in front of the W. They're going to call a foul in Washington State. It looks like a blocking foul.
It's actually going to be an illegal screen on Andrew McKeever. Glass did his best to get around, but McKeever kept moving and shifting his hips, which is an easy call for the referees to make. Yeah. And it is a big turnover. Washington State needs any momentum they can. These timeouts might help them, but any energy that can be given to the offense and the defense to flow with one another, it can get better. Like right now, the three-point shots are not falling. They're open. They're good looks. They just need to start making them. If anything, I think Rahard's Favors should start shooting more. He had his miss in this half, but right now they need anyone who's been making them as of recently. They need them to shoot more. Jerome Moore had 2 step-back threes in the first half. Get him to shoot a couple more. Give Favors open behind the look. Like any off-ball screens to get those guys open aren't there. The matchups are just not working out defensively for St. Mary's, so you have to pick up with it by making the three-pointers on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, that was indeed an offensive foul on McKeever. That's going to be his second personal 16 foul. St. Mary's up 72-58 here with 6:57 left in regulation. We have hit another media timeout, so we'll step away and take a short break. Back after this is the Washington State men's basketball on KUGR, the student voice of the Blues. All right, we're back. 6:57 left until the end of this ball game. St. Mary's biggest lead of the game. St. Mary's 72, Washington State 58. Nathan, what does Washington State have to fix on offense and defense?
Well, went a bit into a little bit of it before the break. The defense is not there positionally. The 3-2 zone worked for about one possession, And then after that, St. Mary's has gone up against it so many times throughout the year that they know, get your corner shooters open, move the ball, swing it across the court, and get the mispositioned defense against Washington State. It worked perfectly. And on offense, just caught to make some big shots. 3-pointers will get them back in this game. Otherwise, it's going to be a very similar script to when they played earlier in the season.
Drosterson trying to hit a three here. That's off the rim. Rebound, Yalaho. Not many offensive rebounds saved by Washington State, but there's one right there. Glass drives around 2 defenders. Hook shot doesn't go. Nothing is falling for Washington State so far. And this game is getting ugly really fast. It's Mikey Lewis now.
At one point, though, in the first matchup, St. Mary's had an 18-point lead. Washington State is capable of making games competitive at the end.
It is better late than never. That is true. It is Joshua Dent now with the basketball, being guarded by Glass. Glass almost takes it away from Dent, but Dent gets the jumper to go. 74-58. St. Mary's almost up by 20 here. Cougs are running out of time with only 6 minutes left until the end of this ball game. It's Yalaho. Yalaho out to Rodriguez, top of the key. Rodriguez out to Glass, top of the key. Driving around, Hawk wants a little contact, and I didn't hear a whistle, but it looks like they did call it on Rory Hawk as he comes in, hits Jerome Morton. It goes up, hits Ace Glass in the face. That's a shooting foul. Ace Glass to the line for 2 free throws.
Foley shifted his momentum, stopped his plane of balance, and Glass did a good job showing it. But when you're having full speed contact with one another, it's going to be pretty apparent that there was a foul on the floor, and Glass gets it. Now the Cougars are in the bonus for the next 5 minutes, 40 seconds. Could be beneficial to them.
That will help. It's a made free throw by Ace Glass. That's the 3rd foul on Rory Hawk. He's the first Gale in foul trouble today. And yes, like Nathan said, that is a 17 foul, so that puts Washington State in the bonus, shooting at least 1 free throw, at least a 1-and-1 the rest of the game. Glass knocks them both down, and he will be subbed out for Jerome Morton.
That is an interesting substitution. I personally do not agree with it, but David Riley sees something offensively and defensively that they want to do. Full trap is what they're doing.
Rory Hawk now out to Joshua Dent. Right at midcourt, heavy pressure put on by Rodriguez. 17 on the shot clock. Little underhand pass to Mikey Lewis. Back out to Dent. Baseball pass out to Morauskas. Great defense by Morton, but that's off of Jerome Morton, and that's St. Mary's basketball.
While it is still St. Mary's basketball, Morton playing with hustle and energy, stopped an easy bucket by swatting it out of bounds.
McKeever now out to Joshua Dent. Thought about the three instead. He'll take the jump shot over Rodriguez. That doesn't go. Rebound fought for, and they're going to say a jump ball, and it is Washington State's basketball in the alternating possession.
It was a great job by Favors. The perfect positioning to the credit of Paulus Morauskas, but Favors grabs the ball in the near side. Referee was able to see that and calls jump ball possession of Washington State. And now it appears that Rory Hawk's going to have to maybe come out of the game for a second, maybe some blood on his elbow.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks like he took a little bit of contact there. Randy Bennett's talking with the official a little bit. Not sure what this is about. They blew the horn. Not sure why Rory Hawk's down on the floor either. Maybe they're just putting some tape. Yeah, it looks like they're just putting some tape on his arm to make sure he's. Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're going to put tape on his arm to make sure he stays in this game. So that is a break for St. Mary's.
Well, the redshirt freshman from Townsville, Australia, stays in the game. They are up by 14. They need his hustle and his energy.
It's Rodriguez off the inbounds from Morton. Back out to Rodriguez. Over to Yalaho. Underneath the basket. Tries to drive around McKeever. Doesn't get it. And, man, Washington State cannot get it one shot to fall.
McKeever has been caught multiple times, though, on the underhand layups and gets easy fouls. But that time he stays stout, stays on the ground, and causes a bad miss from Yalaho.
Joshua Dent now. Driving around Rodriguez. Kicks it out to Morauskas. Thought about the three. Thought about it again. Instead, will drive to the basket. Free throw line jumper is good for Paulus Morauskas. It's 76-60. St. Mary's up by 16. Looks like they're going to be on their way to a victory, but there's still 4:20 left. Washington State was down 18 in the last meeting, made it close. So Washington State still very much in this game. It's Jerome Morton. Out to Yalaho, deep three. No, doesn't fall. Cougs needed that. And rebound is Polis Morauskas once again.
And with the shooting going cold, those are your guys that you can have them make. Favors, Glass, Hildebrandt, or even Yalaho, none of them are making them, and that is just a really bad sign for the Cougars.
And Joshua Dent has it now, being guarded by Jerome Morton. Over to Mikey Lewis, being guarded by Rodriguez. Driving around Rodriguez, and now around Favors. Hook shot doesn't go. Out of bounds off of Washington State. Gales maintain possession as we've hit the under 5 media timeout. St. Mary's 76-60 lead over Washington State. 3.5 left. Fans start to file out of Beasley Coliseum. So we will step away as the fans start to file out of Beasley Coliseum. St. Mary's looks well on the way to a victory. 3:31 left in regulation. St. Mary's 76, Washington State 60. This is Washington State men's basketball on KUGR, the student voice of the Blues. All right, back out of the under 4 media timeout. 3:31 left, St. Mary's 76, Washington State 60. Washington State needs just about every shot to fall. It needs a miracle at some point. Half of the Beasley Coliseum crowd is left, but if the Cougs pull off a miracle, they're going to regret leaving early. This is why you never leave a ball game early. Cougs are still very much in this, but if the shots don't start falling, they're going to be out of this game very fast.
One of the reasons I love basketball so much, crazy things happen. I mean, just imagine Reggie Miller on the Pacers. Maybe we get Favors to be a little bit of the Pacer man himself.
And it's almost time for March Madness, our best time of the year. It's Joshua Dent now off the inbounds. Dent out to Rodriguez. Almost a slip by Thrasherson. Dent doesn't get the shot to fall. That's going to go out of bounds off of St. Mary's as no Washington State Cougar was even in the vicinity. It's over to Washington State, and Yamaha checks back in for Thrasherson. And
St. Mary's is going to challenge the call, saying that they want it to be off of Washington State.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I'm going to have to see the replay on this because I don't believe this was off of St. Mary's. This was off of Washington State. It could have looked like it was off of St. Mary's, but we'll have to see what our 3 officials, Christopher Merlo, Matt Rafferty, and Lewis Garrison, think.
Well, it could go either way, but mathematically, Washington State technically only needs 6 possessions to win this game. If they can get three-pointer, and then finally a three-pointer on top of 2 more points, they get the lead. With only 3 minutes, 12 seconds to go, and one of the best teams in the country, and especially in the West Coast Conference, it's going to be hard to do, and miracles do happen, but right now, looking at the faces of Washington State fans, they're not expecting a miracle to happen.
Yeah, they're not. As we start to see the stands just a little bit, just as we start to see the stands clear out just a little bit more. That's kind of sad, to be honest, because Washington State was in this game. The crowd was jumping, they were going crazy, even though they were down. But now it's just falling apart, and now the stands are getting more empty, which is obviously not something you want to see.
Well, it is unfortunate, but St. Mary's, to the credit of them and Randy Bennett, they pulled away from this game with amazing defense. While there were open looks Washington State should have made, and maybe that swings a little bit of momentum, they did a great job staying in. And the hustle plays on offense, while they may be tall, they still need to fight for the rebounds, and that's exactly what they've been doing. Whether it's their guards or their centers, they are getting the offensive rebounds. They have 13. Washington State only has 7. And in the total rebounding category, St. Mary's leads it by 12 with 35 compared to Washington State's 23. Just great job with hustle, and that's why a part of how they have a 76-60 lead.
Well, Randy Bennett lost his challenge. It was indeed off of St. Mary's. Morton gets the inbounds out to Rodriguez, trying to go coast to coast, doesn't get it. Rebound, Rory Hawk, St. Mary's. So it's a lost challenge by St. Mary's, but they are still up by 16. Polis Morauskas out to Joshua Dent. Dent now being guarded by Morton. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Dent still with the ball. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Finally kicks out to Morauskas. 3 on the shot clock. Hawk to beat the buzzer. Just gets it in with 1 second on the shot clock. Rattles around the net and goes in. It's a three-pointer for Rory Hawk. 79-60. St. Mary's up 19, 2.5 minutes left.
And that one might be the killer nail in the coffin. Favors maybe to match.
And no, Morton with the rebound. Tries to go for the dunk. He'll go for the wave instead. That doesn't go. Okafor off the rebound. Gets that one to go. Finally, a little bit of momentum, but now we see more students starting to leave Beasley Coliseum as they believe this one is all but over. It's turned that way. 2 minutes left. Cougs down 17, and they just turn the ball over to St. Mary's as they have a kicked ball as Garris checks back in for Jerron Morton.
The clock for sure is not the friend of Washington State right now, but I don't believe going in the paint is the smartest plan either. You're getting points, but they're not high percentage shots necessarily. Rodriguez, great steal.
Coast to coast, easy layup, broke the defense of Joshua Dent, had him completely fooled. Sparks a little momentum, but Cougs are still down 15, approaching 90 minutes left in regulation. In the final 90 minutes of men's basketball here at Beasley Coliseum, barring a possible NIT appearance by Washington State, which is not likely to happen if they can't stack up wins at the end of the season, but it's very much possible.
Oh, anything could also happen in the WCC tournament. While today might not be their best day, especially in the second half, they have just not been offensively there or defensively there. They are still here, and they're gaining confidence. That's exactly what Favors wants, and that could still happen with these types of games. You're losing by 15, but Rodriguez doing a great job there getting a steal. It's the hustle plays. It's the effort. Are you finishing games with energy, or are you finishing the games by giving up? And the Cougars might have seemed like they gave up. They're not. They're still in the game. They're getting each other up. Each time they miss, they raise each other up as good teammates. And that is good team chemistry that you want to see. And David Riley said earlier in the week that he's surprised how good of team chemistry these guys have, with so many of them being international. They all collectively understand this is their team, and they fight for one another.
Well, we just had a 30-second timeout called by St. Mary's. They're down to one timeout left. It's now do or die territory for Washington State. It's Morauskas out to Dent, back out to Rory Hawk, out to Dent, top of the key. Garrett's guarding him. Under 90 seconds left, 1:20 to be exact. McKeever one-handed flush over Dre Rodriguez, and that, I think, just about seals this game. 17 points. St. Mary's 81, Washington State 64. Washington State shooting about as cold as the snow here in Pullman right now. Rodriguez gets fouled, and he'll go to the line for 2 free throws, but I don't think that will change much of the outcome here.
Now, I know we are KUGR radio based in Pullman, but my goodness, that was a poster. McKeever put Rodriguez on a poster. one-handed up with the left. Rodriguez could do nothing to stop it. What a phenomenal play. Great pass and a good job to beat the shot clock with definitely the dagger. There's 17 point of a differential. Rodriguez, his free throw is good, takes it to 16, but McKeever right there amps up his team, and the few traveling fans from St. Mary's clapping, giving him a standing ovation as he goes to the bench.
Yeah, he'll check out. He was called for that last foul, so he's going to finish with 6 points, 7 rebounds, no assists. Second free throw by Rodriguez is missed. His poster wasn't even the best one I saw today. If you haven't seen the one by Baylor earlier today, make sure to check that one out. That was probably dunk of the year. Joshua Dent now with the ball. Under a minute to play. Unfortunately for Washington State, it's going to be a loss on senior day, as we're going to have a timeout called by St. Mary's, it looks like. 48.4 seconds left, but just want to reflect on this season real quick for men's basketball. It started out really slow. They went on a couple 3-game winning streaks, tried to get over a winning record, just haven't been able to. Obviously, they've been cleaning up the turnovers, but obviously they got the 2 worst teams left on their schedule, LMU and Pepperdine. They're certainly going to want to get those wins, hopefully move into the 4th spot and get it by at least the quarterfinals.
Well, looking in retrospective, this season for Washington State is a tale of 2 stories. You got Washington State at home. They'll probably lose tonight, unfortunately, but they're 9-6 at home. Well, that's not a phenomenal record. It's a winning record. You win more at home. When they're away, they are currently 1-9 with 2 games pending. With only 1 win on the road, Beasley Coliseum has been the perfect home to Washington State. When they feel like they need a win or a little bit of boost in their team chemistry or how they're feeling, you come to Beasley Coliseum because the fans at least help them get wins. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen tonight, but it's been a good season here in Beasley Coliseum, especially for us at KUGR. We love every opportunity of calling these games, and it is a great, just fun opportunity every single year. And while Washington State doesn't get the win tonight, it is a great game, and I had a great time doing it.
As the inbounds pass from Hawk is taken away by Washington State, Yalaho over to Vavers. Guarded by Hawk. Hawk gets his hands on that, and that is going to be a foul on Hawk. That shot's not going to go. That's going to be Hawk's 4th foul, 9th team foul, and that's going to put Vavers at the line to shoot too. This is the guy you want at the line for Washington State. The most perfect free throw shooter from the line, and that he continues on that, and he makes the first free throw. Again, won't change the outcome, but it will change the final score a little bit. Still 42 seconds left. Vavers makes them both. That gets him up to 11 points. A little bit of a down night. Actually, 12 points now. A little bit of a down night. Okafor with 15. Okafor's not on the floor right now. It's Dent now. And 19 seconds on the shot clock. 20. It's a 9-second difference between the shot clock and game clock. St. Mary's cannot hold for the final shot. Kicks it out to Hawk in the corner. Thought about the 3. Loose pass. Liam Campbell checks in. As I mentioned earlier, received an offer from Washington State. Didn't take it. Campbell shoots and scores, and that's going to just about do it. 10 seconds left. St. Mary's 83, Washington State 67. Rodriguez out to Okafor. Out to Yalaho for 3. No. Rebound St. Mary's, and that is going to do it. St. Mary's defeats Washington State 83-67 and moves to 25-4 on the year, 14-2 on the WCC. Washington State with the loss is going to fall to 12-17, 7-9 on the year. St. Mary's has 2 important games coming up. Santa Clara Wednesday, Gonzaga next Saturday at home, both on national TV. For Washington State, this is the end of the road at Beasley Coliseum this year, at least on the men's side. We still got a couple women's games coming up next week, but we have at LMU Wednesday, at Pepperdine Saturday. And adding on Nathan's point, it has been a pleasure to call basketball games this year, men or women's. I know we did a lot together. We did the first men's game. It's the only thing we do the last one, and I know, Nathan, this one is bittersweet for you because this is your last basketball game.
This is my final basketball game as I am graduating, and it was just a phenomenal season, a great time here at KUGR, and I love watching this team, love talking about them, and they went through a lot of downs, a lot of storylines that you got to brush past and ignore. And they did a great job fighting through it. Tonight, they couldn't get the win, but my goodness, it's been a great season to watch, and it's been fun. It's been exciting. And to be fair, this is not going to be the last time that KUGR might talk about Washington State this year, because for the WCC tournament, we will be there to cover it. And Washington State hopefully will make a run and will make a phenomenal broadcast for Davis and Josiah when they travel to Las Vegas for that tournament.
Yes, that is correct. We will have our crew on site at Las Vegas covering not just Washington State, but the entire tournament. But obviously it is the last home game here at Beasley Coliseum on the men's side. But we also have women's basketball next week, it'll be Thursday night, February 26th. The women host last place Seattle U in a battle of two of the bottom three teams. Tip-off will be at 6. Next Saturday, it'll be women's senior night as they host, senior day as they host St. Mary's at noon. And not only that, we have our first baseball road trip of the year. Next week, Nathan will be traveling down to Long Beach, California. They will be calling baseball against BYU and Long Beach State, so we certainly hope you will join us for that. But as a reminder, if you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe. We can get to our goal of 10,000 subscribers so that we can continue to travel to not only the WCC tournament or Long Beach, but other WSU sporting events. We do not get paid for this, so we would appreciate if it's 10,000 subscribers. It helps us earn a little bit of a profit. But until then, until next Thursday at 6 o'clock, women's basketball against Seattle U. This is Declan Curran with Nathan Eshelman reminding you one more time, final score, St. Mary's 83, Washington State 67. You have been listening. Good night from Beasley Coliseum. You've been listening to Washington State men's basketball on KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse.